You're listening to Online Pet Health Podcasts with Dr. Megan Kelly. Continuing education for veterinarian rehabilitation therapists. Learn more at onlinepethealth.com.
Hey Vet Rehabbers! Today, Candice Ramsay from Ramsay Rehabilitation joins Anae Lloyd from Online Pet Health, and they are chatting about doing teleconsults. And this is something that we've all just been thrown into right now. And it's very, very different to doing normal consultations. The preparation is different. There are a whole lot of challenges, and we're so used to just being there, being present, and having our hands to be able to palpate and being able to be present to speak to our clients. So I think you guys are really going to find this interesting. Candice has thrown herself into this, and she is doing teleconsults, and she chats to us about the things that are working for her and the things that aren't. I think you guys are going to learn a lot from this. Over to Anae and Candice.
Hi everybody, and hi Candice. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Anae. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's always so lovely to chat with you, Candice. So South Africa is in full lockdown, and we are 3 weeks in now, right? Am I right? Yeah, 3 weeks in. So Candice, what are the things that you are doing to keep your practice afloat at this time, and also to give you a little bit of a head start or a boost when the lockdown restrictions are lifted and you can start consulting again?
So there's a few things that I've put into place. Something you should know about me is that I'm a doer. So sitting for 3 weeks not doing anything is almost impossible. So I kind of felt like I had to do something at least. So I launched an online consulting platform with using Zoom, and I had no expectation with it, which is probably why I feel good about it. Yeah, it's been working exceptionally well, and I didn't expect that at all. So I think that was really a good thing to do. And I started the online platform before lockdown. So I started it about a week and a half before I launched it. And so the advert was there, and I was like, people probably not going to be interested in it anyway. Seems like I'm being a bit of a drama queen. I actually used the word drama queen. And but it was there, it was up, and I was like, people probably judging me, thinking that I'm going corona crazy. But it stood me in good stead to have that. And then when lockdown was announced, I had clients phoning me saying, I saw that advert like a week ago or something, and like I want to take you up on it. So that was really cool, because I had something to offer them before the problem happened, and so the seed was planted, which is incredibly valuable. Another thing that I've been doing, which is super scary for me, is Facebook. I have been teaming up with a few people that I do collaborate with anyway, and I'm interviewing them on Facebook Lives, and that's also not something I'm comfortable with, so it's a good challenge for me. And because we have lots of time to use, I can go into it slowly and progressively, and and then also offering different types of packages. So the one package that I've been offering is first day back consults. So you can book a consult with any of our therapists on the first day back and choose the time, as long as you make the payment up front. So whenever lockdown is lifted, we have an option to purchase a session beforehand and then get in first, because I'm sure there'll be a mad rush of people wanting to come into the practice, and so that makes it controlled, and we can know what to expect on the first day. And then at least it helps a little bit to have a bit of flow in a very, very difficult time.
Yeah, okay, so let's chat a little bit about the online consults. I love that you launched them before lockdown came. That was very, I think that's a very wise idea, so that, like you say, the seed can be planted and people can start thinking about it before they end up sitting at home. And it also gives them a channel for when that panic hits of, oh my goodness, it's lockdown. You know, it gives them a something to focus on other than the lockdown. Whereas if you'd launched it afterwards, you would have missed that opportunity. So I really like that. So you say that you're happy with how they're going. How are they working for you? Do you feel like they're successful? You're having good outcomes? Are people booking with you? How are they going?
So I went into it having no expectations, because online consulting like almost seems impossible. So I feel like they're going really well. People are making bookings. Obviously, it's dependent on the client and what's wrong with the dog, and what type of injury we're dealing with. But I do think it's working. So I find that I'm having good patient outcomes as long as the owners are compliant and listening to instructions. And then obviously every time they have an online consult, they get homework and exercises and things to carry out at home. And a few of them have been so successful that I think I'm probably going to have to carry on, because I don't know if they'll want to come back to the practice, because they're doing so well at home. Some of the dogs that are doing really well are dogs that are a bit stressy and now are a lot more relaxed at home, and a lot of the dogs that have very compliant owners that follow instructions well.
Okay. So what are some of the benefits that you're seeing with the online consulting? You've mentioned two really good ones there. Dogs that are anxious, that don't actually like to travel. That's a big benefit for them. And then owners, those super dedicated owners who just go overboard with everything. That's fantastic, because this is a really good way for us to support them and help them in a bit of a different way. Are there any other benefits that you're seeing?
Well, I think the benefit is that we are social distancing. That's the big benefit of online consulting, and you're avoiding COVID, which is vitally important right now. But I also think a few other benefits is that it doesn't take, the actual consult doesn't take much time. So, you don't have to sweep or clean or mop your area where you've worked, which I find takes a lot of time in the practice to get the equipment out, to take the dog here, to take the dog there, to execute the whole rehab session. Whereas online, you open your computer and perhaps you have a demonstration dog that's your own dog, so you don't. It takes the actual consult takes a little bit less time.
I actually thought it would be the opposite, as my idea of it was that you would be spending much more time preparing, and then at the end getting some content ready for your owner to send back to them. So you're saying that it's actually less time than a live consultation.
So the preparation for an online consult takes a lot of time. So okay. I find that prepping for the consult is quite involved and takes a lot. I actually make you have to know what you did last time to do what you're going to do next time. You have to remember what you actually said to the owner, which you have to do with a live consult, but it kind of comes more naturally because I feel like the person's in front of you. So you can remember and you quickly read up your notes at the practice. Whereas here, I have to remember the exercise program. You have to remember what you did last time. You have to remember what you told them. So although it just feels different because it's not one-on-one and the dog's not in front of you. Often you're like, oh yes, I remember the dog struggled with this, because you can see how he executes the exercise or how he moves when you're manipulating him. Whereas now you have part of that like support. So you have to remember what the owner remarked when she was, I don't know, doing some effleurage. They'll be, they'll say things like, oh, this doesn't feel the same as it did last time. And then you have to elaborate on that. So it's like, oh, but how does it feel now? And you have to talk a lot more. So it's shorter in the actual consults, but it's the preparation and the talking is quite tedious, and you really have to listen.
It sounds to me like basically, if I remember back to when I started consulting, it was exactly the same. I would have to spend a lot of time preparing for each consult in re-looking at the history and everything we did before. And then as you become more experienced, it starts to come more naturally. So hopefully online consults will follow a similar trend. And as we get used to doing them, we'll become a little bit more accustomed, and it'll start to come more naturally, remembering all the things that we did in previous treatments, and that specific dogs, dog and owners requirements and things. So like, to me, that just sounds like the beginning phases of something new. So I like it. I think that it'll just get better as time passes. So what do you do to prepare for an online consult? What do you need from your patient, or from your client, should I rather say? And also, let's start with that.
So the consults that I've been doing at the moment have only been pre-existing clients. So I've been seeing their dogs. I know what's wrong with them. We've done proper evaluations and things. So it's kind of maintenance plans that I've been putting in place. So keep in mind that I've touched these dogs before, and I know where their injuries are and what they struggle with already. I'm not sure how possible a new client evaluation, I don't know if that would be possible, because I haven't done it yet. What I do is I will read up what our last manual therapy was, the exercise program that the dog has existing, and I'll make notes of what the last remarks were, to jot down the new ones. I actually make like a little mind map, so I write during the session. And I always tell the owners that they need to I have a bean bag. I have a demonstration dog who's my own dog, who is highly compliant and very easy to do everything on, which I think has been a big tool in making the online consult successful. Because I think if I had a dog that didn't sit still and I couldn't demonstrate properly on, I think it would be incredibly difficult. So prepping her, having my own heat pack, because everything I do, they do. So they just copy me, the monkey see, monkey do kind of thing. And then also making sure that all the advice that I give them, I quickly jot it down, because I seem to remember better at the practice than I do at home. Don't know. So I feel a little bit out of my comfort zone, so I'd rather just write things down while the client's there. And then as I say, the full hour is used, because I'll just sometimes we do a full manual, and sometimes we do manual and active. Active is much easier to do than and I need less for active. I feel like if I'm demonstrating massage, preparing takes a lot more, whereas active exercises, I just make Lucy sit and stand, and then they make their dog sit and stand. So it depends what you're doing in the session as well, how long it takes to prep.
Okay, that sounds good. What are the biggest challenges that you've run into as you've started doing online consults? What's the most difficult thing about them?
So functionally, I think internet is very important. I think if you've got a nice fast internet and you can talk at the same time, that's very valuable. I think that's been a challenge. I have very good internet, but not all my clients do. Having a good tool to use, so a computer versus a cell phone, I found the clients that use their laptops are much better than like a WhatsApp video call on your phone, because they'll be holding the phone like this and being like, is this the way I'm supposed to be touching? And I prefer them to be present with two hands and doing it, properly. Sometimes owners also need someone to hold. So if their dog doesn't want to sit still, they might need two people. So that's been a bit of a challenge. As I said, you have to listen very carefully, and the owner has to listen to you as much as you have to listen to the owner. You really actually have to have a connection. I must be honest, if I didn't have such a compliant dog myself, I think that would be a challenge, because imagine trying to show someone something on a dog that's not listening to you.
Mm-hmm. I have a dog that's very loud. Sasha will lie still and he'll do everything I want him to do, but he'll be talking, complaining the entire time. So yeah, that would be very challenging for me to try and demonstrate on him, because he would just be talking. And German
Yeah, I
very
think
loud.
the plus with me is that Lucy's very small. She's a Maltese poodle, and some of my clients have asked me if I've sedated her for the Zoom meeting. And I don't know why she's so compliant. I'm just very lucky. She does go to school, so she has learned. But she I mean, you put your hands on her and she goes to sleep, and you can literally like move her around like a marshmallow. So.
Oh, that's really lovely. Oh, she must be loving having all the treatments.
Yeah, she is. Although one of the things that does concern me is that I try not to overwork her, because yeah, I mean, if I'm seeing like 1 or 2 patients a day, that's fine. But when I start to see more than that, I do feel like it's not the best thing for her to have like that much. I mean, she's like jelly sometimes, and that's not fair. She doesn't deserve that. So I try and just demonstrate once, so that I know, depending on the day I'm having, rather than to overwork her.
Okay, that sounds like a good compromise. Do you only have the one dog?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, it would be cool if I had 2.
Right. I was even thinking now, like, this is a good opportunity actually for you to be fostering, a dog from a shelter, and you could use them in some of the demos, although I don't know how compliant they would be. You would need to find the right one.
Yeah. And Lucy's the queen. I don't know if she'll accept someone else.
Oh, shame. She sounds awesome, Candice, and I love the photos of her little white fluff ball. She's really
Yeah.
Okay. So something that we all struggle with is charging our clients. And I mean, this is something different. I can imagine that a lot of us are thinking, how do I ask someone to pay for this? So how are you charging? Is it the same rate as your normal consultations? And then do you ask them to do EFTs for you afterwards? And are they paying you? Are you struggling with anyone that's not paying you in this time because you can't actually see them?
So I know this is a really tricky one. I found it difficult at the beginning, but I found a personal compromise that works for me. So I did a bit of self-work, and I realized that I've worked really hard. I know a lot of things. I put a lot of effort into my work, and therefore my advice is valuable. It is, and I can help your dogs. So I charge the same as a normal consult. I do feel like a lot of work goes into it, a lot of patience and time and energy goes into it. I also make sure that they do get the full benefits. So we make them a home exercise program. I email them a summary of what they've learned in the session or what I've taught them. So I then, after the session, I go and type up a little report. Today I saw Snowy and we did the following things, and this is how you execute it. So I do give them a lot, not just the online consult. And then also after that, the online consults, I say, listen, you've got our WhatsApp line. WhatsApp me if you're having a problem. And then often they'll send me a video and say, hey, is he doing this correctly? Is this okay? And so that like open relationship of being there for them, I think makes it okay. I really do. And I think you're getting advice from a qualified vet physio, so I think that it's okay, and it's about doing the best you can in the time that we are at the moment, and it's been working. I haven't had any issues with it or any type of complaints. So I think it's about communicating. I find that having a type of protocol where you say, this is what we're going to do today. This is what you can expect. This is how it's going to work. And then at the end of the consult saying, so this is what, again, summary, this is what we've learned. This is what you can do. And I think that brings value, you know, it's not just a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am consult. It's value.
Yeah, I think that's very valuable, Candice, what you're saying now. And I mean, I've had this, I've had this thought in terms of the difference between an equine and a canine consult often as well, because people will say, but you should charge less for a canine consult because they're smaller. But the truth is, it takes more time to treat a dog than it takes to treat a horse. And it's much
Really?
more,
I didn't know that.
yeah, because you have an owner with you. It's much
I thought it would be a lot harder to treat a horse. I don't treat horses at all. So
yeah. No, it's much more involved. Your equipment, the time and the preparation that goes into it costs you much more, and that has value, and we should look at it in the same way. And even when you're not putting your hands on a dog, my apologies, and you're not using your equipment, the preparation time, the time after your consult, your consultation time, your expertise, your training, like all of those things are still as valuable as they were before, and you should still be charging for them just the same way. And I mean, I can also understand that there are a lot of our clients who are not working and are not getting an income in, and like I, as a human being, and as a caring person, that can be understood, and then I feel like there's always something that can be done, there's
absolutely. I mean, you
that.
can, yeah, you've got to understand each person's circumstance. I think, if people are not getting salaries in at the moment and their dog is in pain, you can always make a plan. I think it's case dependent. But I don't think you should feel guilty about offering a really, really good service. Even it just looks a little bit different from what a regular service looks like, but there's tons of that out there. And I think, we should just value what we can give.
Absolutely. We ourselves as valuable, and we should take that into consideration. Thank you, Candice. Are you going to be keeping your online consults as a part of your normal service package when you go back to practice?
I don't think I can undo it now. I don't think it's possible to not offer it. So I think I will. I think obviously we'll have a lot more people come to us. I don't know. I had that expectation that no one would do online consults, and now people are doing them. So you shouldn't have any expectations. But I think it's been extremely valuable. I mean, I've even had calls from people from overseas now, so to consults. Patients, previous clients who have moved, who have phoned me up now to say, hey, I see you doing online consults. Can you see my dog again? Obviously, that would be very tricky. I'd prefer it if I see the dog, if I have seen the dog and that it wasn't too long ago, and then I'd have to mold the program accordingly. But I don't think it would be impossible to direct a home exercise program, at least from anywhere in the world. Why not?
I love it. I think it's such a good addition for us into our practices, and I think that it is not just this time, like our current global situation, but it is a sign of the time that we are in. Everything is going more and more online. We are all more digitally orientated. I think it's a fantastic thing to add into your normal service. So I like it. Candice, what advice would you give to someone who has been thinking about doing online consults and hasn't started yet or wants to start?
I would suggest that they make sure they have good internet, that you've got a reliable computer, that you are entitled pick what kind of patients you see online. I think that's important for us to be successful. I would be very careful with the kind of cases that you are seeing online. I would make sure that you assess the owner's capabilities as well, because that's going to be a huge influencing factor. I would make sure that you also have a compliant home. Does that make sense? In terms of having a nice, professional, quiet space to work that's not interrupted, I think that you need to remember that if you are charging for a service, it has to be professional. And so you can't have people walking in and out of your screen and stuff like that. It's especially if you're charging what you're charging. I think having a demo dog has been very valuable, and I would suggest that if vet physios have demo dogs, I think that's been the most valuable. I think Lucy's been working harder than me. That's very, very valuable. And I think, I would communicate with your owners. Say, this is not ideal. I would prefer to see you, but obviously, given the circumstance, this is the situation, and this is what we can do. And then name those things, and name the things that you can't do as well. That's okay. It's okay to say, I think your dog would benefit better from laser therapy, ultrasound, whatever modality you would prefer to use. But this is what we have, and so let's make it work. Communication.
Love that. Just keep communicating. Yeah. Thank you so much, Candice, for taking the time to share this with us. It's always great to be able to get knowledge from those that have gone ahead. And so thank you very much for trailblazing and for sharing your findings with us. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's a pleasure, and thanks. Online Pet Health has been exceptionally supportive. So I feel like you guys are doing an amazing job as well. I'm really grateful to have you.
Oh, thank you. We are all doing what we can, right? To just support each other as much as we can. I'm grateful that we have the opportunity to be able to support you guys in at least some ways.
Vet Rehabbers, for more information on how to take your career to the next level, go to www.onlinepethealth.com. Please don't forget to subscribe to my podcast so you'll get notified. I'm here every single week talking to vet rehabbers from all over the world, learning, and I would love you to join me. Hope you have an awesome day further. Cheers for now.